Lee, thanks for joining us as you get ready. Your preparations are ongoing now, of course, for the weekend's game, and you're up against a Walsall side that started the season exceptionally well. Nice, tasty fixture for everybody.
Yeah, really good fixture. We always take a good following to Walsall, it being quite local. They've started the season really well, and you could see some of the elements from last season that they've taken into this season. Really disciplined with the structure and the shape, and they're going well, so it's going to be a real tough game. Likewise, they'll be thinking the same about us.
It's an interesting start. It brings together the two youngest average age teams in the division. Walsall just in front of Crewe at the moment, but fantastic to see all these young players playing at this level.
Yeah, and I think it's something like combined the lowest amount of appearances will be on the pitch between the two teams throughout the Football League come Saturday, which also brings good stuff, lack of fear from younger players, willing to try stuff, willing to take information on and try and improve all the time. They haven't got a particularly massive squad like us in terms of being able to change it and make them ages change. So it'll be an energetic game because there's plenty of young players on the pitch.
And of course, what it brings is that you got beat last week. Obviously, that was disappointing. And when you do suffer a defeat, do you try something different in your week's preparations, in your week's build-up?
No, I think it's important. You realise you've had a kick in the teeth by going out the FA Cup. I've said it before, you don't then start altering things. You keep to your rhythm and your patterns that you're used to working with throughout the week and the players are used to working to. And we believe we've got good processes in place to make us improve. So we'll keep on with them throughout the season. No panic in terms of losing a football match. Yes, we don't want to lose a game, but there's going to be bumps on the road throughout the season. And it's important that you quickly regroup, realise why it went wrong, what we didn't quite do. Saying that on Saturday, if we take a couple of the chances we had, the game completely looks different. We've been scoring them chances in recent games. So again, the camp should be confident and looking forward to Saturday.
Apart from Chesterfield, they're the only team that have scored more goals than Walsall in League Two. Is that what they are? An open attacking play? Is that what they bring?
No, they're not. They're very good. They've got they look such an honest group. They're willing to work for each other. Very structured in terms of what they do without the football. Really hard to play against. They've obviously got danger from set plays. They're slightly different to Chesterfield in terms of how the game looks, in terms of being wide open and a bit of a basketball game. It's not quite that, but they're ruthless in terms of their goals. Say that, crosses coming in from wide areas, and they've got people who can score the goals. The lad from Stoke, Lowe's, having a really good season. Jamil Matt, vastly experienced, brings others into play and is also chipping in with goals.
For you and your staff and your players, it's a proverbial one game at a time, but it's a tasty month, isn't it, of fixtures that you're going into in the league? Yeah,
and look, I'm going to bore you. I haven't had a chance to. You know what fixtures are coming, and the processes are in the background in terms of putting stuff together. But you just focus on what you've got to do this week, picking a team that we feel is going to be able to stop them and hurt them. So again, really boring. You're really concentrating on the Walsall game, and then the Notts County game becomes the next one.
It is second versus fifth though, and it does make for everybody to have a bit of an edge on the seats fixture. You won't want it to be like that really, but it's got a good feel to it.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of these types of fixtures throughout the season because of how the league's looking like it's shaping up. I think if you win a couple, teams don't pick up the results, someone else will end up in fifth, end up in fourth. So I think there's going to be a lot of these games throughout the season, and that's why it's so important you just isolate the game. You don't look at it in terms of the league table, because I think this will come about every 2 or 3 weeks where teams have piled themselves up the league because of how tight it is. It's just really important that we do our own work, we concentrate on what we've got to do in the game to try and pick up 3 points and a positive result.
Last week you got Chris Long and Jack Powell back in your squad, in your match day squad. How have they come through that, and how's things in the injury situation?
Yeah, so the injury situation hasn't changed any. We've got a plan for these players in terms of getting them minutes, getting them onto the pitch gradually. People like Omar, which we'll continue to do. We won't be in a rush with any of these players to put them in a situation that we don't feel they're ready for. because the main aim is we want to get in a position where we've got headaches in the management room with who we're going to be leaving out every week.
Jack Lancaster getting really close though, and just an update on what actually happened with Connor Thomas.
Yeah, so Jack's really close. He's walking around the building this week saying I've ticked another box off, I'm ready for the weekend, and that's Jack's nature. He just loves football, he wants to be out there, so hopefully in the next 2 games we'll see him involved in the first team squad. Connor Thomas, he obviously come on Tranmere, he came on. It was a Tranmere game. He came on and he's just felt something. It's not quite his calf, it's a little bit higher. So we've seen a specialist. He's gone down to London. A lady who looked at him last time, who looks after a lot of elite sport players. So we're going to be missing him for a few weeks. Hopefully we can get a process and a procedure in place where that speeds it up if he has to have an injection. But we're just going to have to be relaxed with that in terms of we're going to be missing him for a few weeks. We don't want to be missing him because he's so important to us in terms of how we can play and how we can allow the other players to play with him in the team. But people are going to get injured, and that's the nature of football, and we take it on the chin and we move forward.
You move forward, you put behind you last weekend, you get ready for this weekend. Another great following going again. Already a lot of tickets sold for the Port Vale game that's coming up in a few weeks' time. But first of all, a good following going to Walsall. Yeah,
brilliant. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are, but I can imagine it'd be around 1,000 fans. I keep saying, and I'm not saying it for any pats on the back, they've been excellent, particularly the away games. We'll let the fans know exactly, the players know exactly what's happening with the fans in terms of turning up and the type of performance that them fans need to see come Saturday. But it's brilliant, and we thank them. Continue to support the players, even when we get bumps like we did Saturday. It's important that the fans stick with the young bunch, keep encouraging them. I get it if we're losing 5 on the bounce. You got your right, but stay with us, and even when we have a little bump in the road.